In our second segment, we are going to talk with a couple of Clark University students, and I want to welcome them both here to talk about their company, Agraponics. Calder Seth from Clark University, biology major. Chris Dibble, also from Clark University, majoring in
biology.
Biology. So we've got two smart guys here from Clark University who are partnering in a business together, but also taking advantage of a chamber program that I want to get into in just a moment called Startup Worcester. But Chris, maybe I'll start with you. You're junior at Clark?
Senior.
Senior
at Clark, yes.
Going to be a senior at Clark,
yes,
okay.
about to be.
About to be a rising senior. So just, for our viewers, why Clark and what's your experience been to date?
Absolutely. So actually Clark for me was as much academic as it was athletic. I went in playing baseball, and so I was recruited to play there. That's how I ended up at Clark. I fell in love with the school. I really like that it's a small research university, and so there are a lot of opportunities to really dig deep into a lot of the things that are going on in the world today.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool that even at a small school you could get big opportunities.
Yeah.
So going into my senior year, I'm really excited about what we have going on. I'm very grateful for the opportunities that Clark and Worcester has been able to provide for us.
Good. We're going to get into that in a minute with your company. And Calder, how about you? You're from Colorado.
I am from Colorado, yes.
So how did a guy from the big mountain state there find Worcester and Clark University?
Well, I wanted to move away from my parents, so I was kind of looking across the country. And I love that Clark is a small school. I have so many opportunities. I've been doing biochemical research for 3 years with a pretty esteemed professor, and that just doesn't happen at a bigger university. So, yeah.
So
really
good
great
stuff. Well, Clark University, lucky to have you, and Worcester as well. So I want to get into kind of what you've been working on at Clark, both biology majors, but you were both involved in a competition at Clark University called the Eureka pitch competition, and you won it. So why don't you maybe could tell our viewers about your company and the idea that you pitched.
Absolutely. All right. So we entered the Eureka idea competition, I think, fall of last year.
And is that just a Clark competition?
And so it's a competition at Clark. All of the students, both undergraduate and graduate students, are welcome to participate. And it's a competition that gives a $5,000 prize to 3 winners. We won first place. We got $3,500 for seed funding to start our company. It required us to write about 12 long essays throughout the semester, and then finish it off with a final business plan, which we submitted, and then we gave a 5-minute pitch. We ended right on time, and the audience loved us.
So the audience, is it an audience selection or is it a panel?
Actually they had, usually it is an audience selection, but they did it different this year, and it was a panel of entrepreneurial experts. So actually one of my former entrepreneurial teachers was in the panel, which was kind of cool. And they gave us a lot of good feedback and really helped us get going after the Eureka competition. Originally our idea actually started a little bit differently. We really wanted to educate people on how to grow food and teach them and get it into schools to kind of teach people how to start growing. We realized that in order to make a bigger impact, we needed to make something that could sustain itself. And so we hit the drawing board and ended up coming up with a business model to...
And that's one of the things I wanted to ask about. So, the chamber, our mission or the mantra under which we operate under is 3 themes: recruit, retain, incubate. And recruit new businesses to the area, retain existing businesses and work with our members and allowing them to grow. And then work with our college, universities, and others and entrepreneurs on incubating new businesses. So, Calder, how did you and Chris kind of get down this path? How did you put together this idea, and what made you get into the competition?
Well, actually, we'd been in classes together for a couple years, known each other since the beginning of college, and we went on a biology research trip to Bermuda
a pretty good
together.
trip.
Yeah, it was incredibly
Sounds
fun.
like spring break.
Yeah,
it's a good field trip.
Yeah, it was good. And we got to talking during the trip just about sort of our ideas on hydroponics and sustainable farming, and realized it was pretty compatible, and so we decided to.
And so if you're a layperson who's not familiar with, or a non-biology major, what is hydroponics?
Hydroponics is the idea of gardening without using soil. So you grow all your plants in nutrient-enriched water. And it's both more sustainable, more efficient, and can be more convenient than traditional gardening.
And so your idea is that, how to teach people on how to do that, use it just.
Yeah.
So yeah, our product is a convenient hydroponic system that you can set up in any residential home that provides live feedback on how you're growing. So it monitors your system for you and gives you advice, really making it accessible, even if you have no experience.
Absolutely, and that's really what we want to be able to do, is give those individuals who have no prior farming experience the ability to grow their own fruits and vegetables, just to supplement their
So we're
nutrition.
talking about a kit that you can put in a garage or a 3-season porch or in your basement. Is that
Yeah.
what you're talking
Yes.
about here?
Yeah, so we have a couple different designs. So there's the computer side of it, which is a lot of the sensing and getting the monitoring data. So right now we're developing our one product for the actual monitoring, and that can be available by itself to plug into any hydroponic system that you have. But we're also working on full package designs that include our monitoring system with the other side, which is the physical hydroponic system of what it looks like, the water flowing through the roots.
Because Calder used an analogy, I think that anyone can relate to gardening. You
Yeah.
plant a seed, or a small plant, and it grows and it bears fruit, or and you've got to water it, and you've got to weed it, and kind of check the weather and those types of things. What you're talking about is a seed in water, plant in water, and then monitoring it.
Yep, it sits in a little cup with a bunch of rocks in it, and basically you are the weather. So you determine how much sun it gets from a light. You determine how many nutrients it gets. You put them in the water yourselves, and you can set all the watering times. You can really fine-tune all the conditions the plant experiences.
And there are people doing this commercially, correct?
Yes, there are a lot of people doing it commercially. It's a big up and coming industry. I actually bought hydroponic lettuce from the grocery store yesterday.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people have adopted it into the home at this point. And so that's what we're that's what we're focusing on doing, is getting people to begin growing their own. And we want to make it as easy as possible for people to do that.
Right. And it's more sustainable because why? Less.
So it uses less water, and you're able to better manage where the runoff is going, rather than having to saturate your soil in nitrogen-rich fertilizer. You're able to put just the right amount of nitrogen into your system for the plants to just uptake the nitrogen, which means less runoff on the back end of things, which is just one way. It also reduces the amount of water you need to use, because a lot of the systems are very closed, and so there's reduced evaporation.
And plants need nitrogen
Of course.
to grow, but at the same time, too higher levels of nitrogen can cause negative impacts to water systems.
Yeah, absolutely. The negative impacts of runoff are things like, and it comes primarily from people gardening outside their home gardens. They're not as regulated as commercial grow operations, and so inside of your garden in the backyard, when you throw all those nutrients on, they end up getting washed downriver, and they get into the water systems, and downstream you get harmful algal blooms from that.
Right. So
That has a big impact on the environment.
So when
downstream.
people, locally here, whether it be Indian Lake or other type of ponds in the region, when there's algae blooms, things like that, high levels of nitrogen contribute to that.
Absolutely, and it affects the entire ecosystem, the
Yeah.
fish there, the
Now,
trees.
now, you guys were not only winners in the Eureka pitch competition at Clark University, but you also took advantage and were entrance into a contest or a competition that the Chamber of Commerce called Startup Worcester. And I just want to set it up for our viewers who maybe are not familiar with, though we've talked about Startup Worcester. The Worcester Chamber of Commerce, Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce, and our mission on incubating new businesses have partnered with the colleges and universities with Running Start, which is a co-working space in Gateway Park near WPI, the Venture Forum, and SCORE, which is executives and retired executives sponsored by the Small Business Administration, to put together a program. And we had nearly 30 college students like yourselves submit business plans, and 12 were selected to get a 1-year free membership to Running Start, co-working space, the Chamber, the Venture Forum, and a designated mentor from SCORE. You guys submitted to that, were selected, but just your experience in that, and is there an opportunity to kind of grow this?
It's been great. They provide us with legal consultation and lots of financial connections and stuff. So it's been really we've been blessed with Startup Worcester, and I think it's something that we will definitely continue to work with in the future.
Yeah, and this for people who might not be familiar with what a co-working space is, I mean, you want to describe Running Start?
Yeah. So Running Start is what you would expect out of your traditional Harvard movie, I would say. It's a converted, I would say, factory
mill
type
building,
a converted mill building to what they call co-working office space, which is really a large area where a lot of really smart people can come together and work on their ideas and work individually, but still have other really smart people around them, which makes for a really cool dynamic. I really enjoy working there. Just the atmosphere is almost electric. People are excited about their ideas. People are working hard, and it gives you a good place.
Prescott, this isn't Harvard and Cambridge. This is Prescott Street in Worcester,
exactly.
Where college students, entrepreneurs, others are kind of around, just talking, batting around ideas, working on ideas.
Yeah, and it's very cool, and it's something that I wouldn't have expected from Worcester had I first moved here. But living here and seeing all of the initiatives for the entrepreneurial push here in Worcester, Startup Worcester Running Start gives us a great place to just go, get away from all of the everything else, and just focus on what we're doing and what our dreams, goals, and aspirations are.
Yeah, Calder, what's your similar?
Yeah, it's really nice. It's great too. It's got a lot of tech companies and stuff, so we can get lots of computer advice and sort of some of the side of it that we're not so familiar with. Lots of coding help and stuff.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. I mean, about whether I'm a lawyer by training, and before I got into politics, ran a small law practice, and you're taught at law. Here's the law, but doesn't necessarily tell you about human resources,
Right.
staff and
Exactly.
payroll and IT. I mean, your computer systems and how you access information. So really, any business, especially small businesses, you rely on other businesses to give you expertise, to hire advice, and that's what really kind of Running Start is, an ecosystem where you can do that for budding entrepreneurs and companies.
It's great. Yeah, no, it really connects us to the community, and I think an important part of being a company, and especially a startup, is really connecting to that community and being a part of it, being there. And it gives us a great place to go and be there and be part of it.
And hopefully stay after you graduate. So what are the plans after the senior year?
So right now we are really developing our product portfolio, and we really are excited about a lot of the things we have going on. So after the senior year, we're going to look to push forward and continue to follow our dreams of teaching people how to grow.
And growing in Worcester. Calder, same thing?
Yep.
All
Yep.
right,
Looking for investors.
We want to have you back in 10 years and invest. And that's the other thing, investors, seed capital. How do you access, financing? And
Right.
we're working hard to let the venture capital community know in Eastern Mass that there are great ideas and great companies and great young people with smart ideas. So I want to thank Calder Seth and Chris Dibble from Agraponics, one of the winners or recipients of the Startup Worcester program at Running Start, for being with us, and we look forward to having you guys back at some point. I want to thank you, our viewers, for joining us here on the show on this edition of the Chamber Exchange, a TV show, and I want to close with a thank you to our sponsors who make the show happen, Fallon Health and Worcester Bravehearts Baseball.